Good evening. Thank you for your interest in the STARS Route 639 Salem Church Road Corridor Improvement Study between Route 3 Plank Road and Route 620 Harrison Road. This study was undertaken by VDOT Strategically Targeted and Affordable Roadway Solutions Program, also known as STARS. This was a joint effort between VDOT and Spotsylvania County. This meeting serves as the main public outreach for the study to gain public input on potential improvements. The project team for this study consists of VDOT staff, as well as a consultant team working in conjunction with Spotsylvania County staff. From the VDOT side, we have Linda Lasute, our VDOT project manager. We have Cassandra Lord, our VDOT planning manager. Peter Hedrick, our VDOT traffic engineer. Catherine Coffey, who's the VDOT acting district project development engineer. Kelly Hannon, who's our VDOT communications manager. Pavneet Kaur, who's our VDOT planning engineer. And Kyle Bates, who's the VDOT Fredericksburg resident engineer. And then for our consultant team, we have Sachin Kakar, who's our project manager. Myself, Elisa Prangi, who's the lead traffic analyst for the study. And we have Christopher Gay, who's our planning lead. And then finally, from Spotsylvania County, we have Paul Agnello, who's our director of transportation, if he wants to say a few words before we get going. If not, we'll just jump into it. All right. So this meeting is being recorded. This meeting will begin with a presentation of project details, followed by a question and answer period. After the presentation, we will read questions aloud and answer them the best we can. If the study team does not have the answer to your question right away, we will follow up with you later with an email. Participants have all been muted, so if you would like to come off mute to ask your question, please use the raise hand feature, and we will address you in a timely manner during the question and answer portion of the presentation. You can also add project-related questions in the Q&A dialog box at any time. Related questions may be grouped together, so you may not hear the exact phrasing of your question. You can check your audio settings by selecting the setting button at the top right of the screen if you are joining via the GoToWebinar desktop app. If you're joining this presentation by phone or calling in and have project-related questions, you can email fred.comments@vdot.virginia.gov. And the project team will work to answer your questions in the coming days. If by the end of this meeting your question is still not addressed, we will send an email with answers to all registered attendees. We also have closed captions available for this presentation. This study is assessing potential operational, multimodal, and safety improvements along the corridor of Route 639, Salem Church Road, between Route 3, Plank Road, and Route 620, Harrison Road in Spotsylvania County. This segment is 1.5 miles long with 4 signalized intersections and 4 unsignalized intersections as part of the study. Salem Church Road is a minor arterial with a posted speed limit of 45 miles per hour. The land uses along this corridor consists of residential neighborhoods, elementary school, public library, senior apartments and medical facilities, a fire station, as well as additional commercial uses such as gas stations and restaurants. One special characteristic of this roadway is that it provides north-south connection to the west of I-95 and south from Route 3. Incidents that occur on I-95 and Route 1 corridors can divert traffic into the study area. The purpose of the study is to consider and evaluate potential improvements to alleviate congestion and address safety, multimodal, and access management issues. The study team analyzed current and future traffic operations and safety conditions to propose potential improvements. Historical crashes between the years of 2018 and 2022, data was analyzed and safety issues including angle crashes at intersections and head-on crashes along segments were identified. Locations of pedestrian crashes were identified to evaluate potential safety concerns and opportunities for improvements. Traffic operational conditions include very heavy traffic demand and peak hour congestion at both ends of the study area, the intersections with Salem Church Road and Plank Road, and as well as Salem Church Road and Harrison Road. Limited and non-continuous pedestrian accommodations are present along the corridor. Several unsignalized intersections and median openings along with roadway curvature create unsafe conditions for motorists along the corridor. The team evaluated the addition of turn lanes, signal phasing improvements, and innovative intersections to improve the existing conditions along the corridor. As part of the study, active projects and studies within and adjacent to the corridor were reviewed for potential impacts. There is one other study being conducted along Route 3, which includes the intersection with Route 639. Additionally, there are roadway improvements in design at the intersection with Route 620, Harrison Road. This project is projected to begin construction in 2027 and will replace the traffic signal, provide additional sidewalk, pedestrian crosswalks, pedestrian crossing signal equipment, and a shared use path connection to the Virginia Central Railway Trail. There's a proposed development, the Hazel Run Residential, planned for the southern portion of the study area, which is near the intersection of Salem Run Boulevard. Now let's take a look at the proposed changes at each of the study area intersections. At the intersection of Route 3 and Route 639, proposed changes include providing high visibility crosswalks on the north and west legs of the intersection, along with sidewalk along the west side of Route 639 and Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as ADA, and Federal Highways Administration's Public Right-of-Way Accessibility Guidance, also called PROWAG, compliant ramps at each of the crossings. Additionally, an innovative intersection layout called a through cut is proposed. This layout would restrict northbound Salem Church Road and southbound Chamber Road through movements at the intersection. So traveling from the south going through to the commercial area or coming south from the commercial area onto onto Salem Church Road would be restricted. Those wishing to make those movements would need to use the Salem Church Crossing intersection, which can be accessed by turning onto General Semis Road or by turning onto Route 3 and making a U-turn at the adjacent intersections. The through cut is intended to improve operations while also reducing conflict points at the intersection, thereby potentially reducing the risk of crashes. At the intersection of Route 639 and General Semis Road, the proposed improvements include the addition of a lane on the east leg of the intersection and changing the lane use on the east and west legs to have a left and a shared through right lane. Along with this lane use change, the signal phasing would be changed to have protected left turn movements from General Semis Road. A protected left turn phase means drivers will have a left turn arrow and will only be able to turn when the arrow is present. High visibility crosswalks and PROWAG and ADA compliant ramps and sidewalk connections are proposed for all four legs of the intersection. At the intersection of Route 639 and Jackson Road, the proposed changes include providing continuous sidewalk on the east and west sides of Route 639 with ADA compliant ramps. Additionally, channelizing islands, which will prevent left turns from Jackson Road as well as southbound 639 are proposed. This restriction of left turns will improve operations as well as safety at the intersection by prohibiting left turns out of the side streets. Vehicles which would previously turn left from Jackson Road would access 639 from Kennedy Lane and General Semis Road. At the intersection of Route 639 and Upaway Drive, Lucas Street, the proposed changes include providing continuous sidewalk on the east and west sides of Route 639 with ADA compliant ramps. Additionally, channelizing islands, which will restrict left turns from Upaway Drive and Lucas Street, are proposed. This restriction of left turns will improve operations as well as safety at the intersection. Vehicles which currently turn left from Upaway Drive and Lucas Street would access Salem Church Road from Kennedy Lane and Ross Drive, respectively. Sorry about that. At the intersection of Route 639 and Kennedy Lane, Salem Run Boulevard, the proposed improvements include restriping of the east and west legs of the intersection to provide left and shared through right lanes. Along with this lane change, the signal phasing would be changed to have protected left turn movements from Kennedy Lane and Salem Run Boulevard. For the protected left turns, drivers will have a left turn arrow and will only be able to turn when the arrow is present. High visibility crosswalks with ADA compliant ramps and sidewalk connections are proposed for north, east, and west legs of the intersection. Intersection lighting is also proposed to improve the safety of pedestrians crossing in dark conditions. At the intersection of Route 639 and Danielle Drive, the proposed improvements include sidewalk to the north of the intersection and a shared use path to the south of the intersection along the west side of Salem Church Road. ADA compliant ramps will also be installed along with the pedestrian accommodations. In addition, a bus shelter on the east side of Salem Church Road in front of the library is proposed. At the intersection of Route 639 and Salem Run Boulevard, the proposed improvements include providing sidewalk connections on the east side of Salem Church Road and shared use path connections on the west side of Salem Church Road, along with providing ADA compliant ramps. A high-intensity activated crosswalk, also known as a hawk signal, is proposed at the intersection to allow for pedestrians to cross the street in a safe manner after pushing the buttons and waiting for the light to change. Concrete median is proposed to the south of this location as a safety measure to address head-on collisions in the area. At the intersection of Route 639 and Harrison Road, the proposed improvements include providing sidewalk connections on the east side of Salem Church Road and a shared use path on the west side of Salem Church Road, providing a second southbound left turn lane, and providing a concrete median along Salem Church Road to the north of Harrison Road. These improvements will improve the safety for pedestrians and motorists, as well as providing congestion relief. The alternatives were evaluated relative to each other in various categories, including access and connectivity, safety, congestion relief, and cost. The darker shades of green in this chart represent greater positive impacts or benefits. The intersection improvements along with corridor-wide sidewalk improvements provide a significant benefit for both the access and connectivity of pedestrians and bikes, as well as the safety by providing high visibility controlled crossings. Moderate congestion relief is anticipated due to the intersection improvements through most of the corridor, through the addition of turn lanes and phasing changes, as well as access control measures. The highest cost measures include the modifications of Route 3, General Semis Road, and the corridor-wide sidewalk improvements. The next steps for the study include evaluating the trade-offs, reviewing public input, and selecting the preferred alternative that addresses safety, operations, and has low impacts and cost implications. The study recommendations will be finalized and posted online later in 2024. Selected improvements will be applied for funding through Virginia's Smart Scale funding program. If selected through the competitive Smart Scale program for funding, the projects will be included in six-year improvement program, with funds earmarked for construction of the improvements. Thank you for listening to this presentation. We have several options for providing feedback or asking questions. You may post project-related questions in the GoToWebinar Q&A dialog box, and we'll begin to answer questions shortly. There's also an online survey that you can access either through the project website or by scanning the QR code on the screen now. Additionally, you may have email or mail comments to fred.comments@vdot.virginia.gov or to Linda Lasute at VDOT's offices. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa. I now would like to introduce from Spotsylvania County, Paul Agnello, the Director of Transportation Planning, who would like to say a few words. Paul, I think we have taken you off mute, so please feel free to go ahead.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Okay, great. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. I probably pressed the wrong button, but I want to thank VDOT for this study. I'll say that Salem Church Road is a very important roadway to the county, connecting Route 3 and Harrison Road. We appreciate the fact that VDOT has done this study and they're developing not one, but two smart scale projects for us from this study. So we look forward to working with VDOT on this, and we hope that this can lead to some good improvements in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you everyone else for joining us this evening. I'm looking to see if we've had any questions come in during the presentation. We have had one. I want to recognize that the project includes improvements in pedestrian and bicycle access, which are important. Can you talk about amenities for bicyclists or pedestrians?
Sure. There are proposed changes that consider pedestrians and bicyclists access, connectivity, as well as safety. Several of the improvements include adding controlled crossings at Plank Road, at General Semis Road, additional crossings at Kennedy Lane and Salem Run Boulevard, and also providing a continuous sidewalk or shared use path along the entire corridor to improve the access and connectivity for pedestrians and bicyclists.
Another question we've had come in is for the pedestrian improvements, you've mentioned that there would be hawk signals. Can you talk a little bit more about what a hawk signal is?
Sure. A hawk signal is a pedestrian activated signal. Let me actually go back to that picture we had up. So this is just kind of an example of a hawk signal. The one proposed in this will be a little bit different because it's kind of at an intersection, but a pedestrian will come up, they'll push the push button. It will go into a flashing yellow mode to allow cars to clear the intersection, and then it will go into a solid red where cars will have to stop. That will allow pedestrians to cross. After a bit of time, the light will go to a flashing red, at which point, if the pedestrians have cleared the intersection, then cars are allowed to go after stopping. And then it will go back to a dark signal, and at that point, vehicles will allowed to be freely flow through the intersection.
The next question is, when do you expect the study to move into construction? When would these projects be built?
Sachin, do you have any information on that, or someone from VDOT?
Sure, absolutely. Hold on just a second. All right, so this is a study at this point, and the objective of this study is to come up with these recommendations that will be, again, fed into smart scale applications. A smart scale is a program where all the localities, they pursue funding. It's a competitive program where they compete against each other in terms of the benefits and the cost. So if the projects are selected through that competitive process, the funding is awarded. It essentially takes several years, up to 6 years, for the funding to become available. So essentially, any recommendations that are selected out of the study for funding, we're looking at 6 years before the construction can begin for these projects.
Okay, the next question is, are bus shelters part of these improvements?
Sure. As part of our preferred alternative currently, we are proposing a bus shelter on the east side of Salem Church Road in front of the library near Danielle Drive.
The next question is, what are your plans for the crosswalk at Salem Church Road and General Semis Road? That intersection could use some improvements, especially for pedestrians.
Yes, agreed. So at Salem Church Road and General Semis Road, the alternative calls for putting in high visibility crossings with pedestrian push buttons on all 4 legs of the intersection. Along with that, there'll be a sidewalk to connect all 4 of those, all 4 of the corners.
And we've had a question again. How can I provide input on the study's proposal?
Sure. There's several ways you can. One that's currently active is there's a survey that's available for this project, which you can either get through the project website, or I'm going to go back to that screen with the QR code. And you could also email your comments to fred.comments@vdot.virginia.gov.
We've had another question come in. Will the speed limit remain 45 miles an hour?
So currently, as part of this study, we are not recommending a reduction in speed, so it is proposed to remain at 45.
That was the last question that we had, so I do want to invite anyone else to please ask any questions that we can assist with. Okay. All right, well, I don't see anything else coming through, so I'll turn it back to Elisa.
I want to thank everyone for their participation, and definitely if you think of any questions you want to ask, let us know. Looks like
we have just gotten one more question.
I just got one more.
Can you discuss how this project's integrated with the other project that's already improved for the Harrison Road and Salem Church Road intersection? I understand this mostly affects the intersection and the east of Salem Church Road towards Salem Station Boulevard. How would this study be impacted by the proposed Wawa on the northeast corner of this intersection? I think we might want to call on the group. Who would like to take this question?
I think Paul has his hand up. Maybe he has something to say about it.
Yeah, good evening. Yes, Paul Agnello from Spotsylvania. I just wanted to make a quick comment. So the Wawa basically site plan is not moving ahead. I'll say that another development may move there, but we don't have a concrete proposal at this point in time. I'll say that there was a rezoning, so basically it's zoned for commercial, but there's nothing actually coming in there right away. The other quick point I wanted to make is that some of the potential frontage improvements associated with the developments, like the Harrison Road residential, could happen more quickly than the smart scale timeline. I also just wanted to say that some of the improvements shown basically at the southernmost slide are part of an existing smart scale project that's funded or a TAP project, and those are on a quicker time frame as well.
Yeah, to follow on with that, we did incorporate those projects into our baseline of our design, so um, they wouldn't overlap. They would be.
Yes, and thank you very much for your work on the study. Great presentation tonight.
Thank you. And I think
Sure.
one other thing we wanted to say is how long the survey would be open, which I believe is through June 10th. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Alyssa, I believe you're correct.
Okay.
So again, it is an online survey. If you scan that QR code or go to that website, you should be able to fill out the responses. It is asking for showing the same concepts that we presented here and asking for your rating from 1 through 5, how you feel about those improvements.
All right. I think if we don't have any more questions or no one else has anything to say, we can probably get everyone back to their home activities a little early tonight. Again, thank you all for joining the webinar, and we hope you like what you see. We can move forward with finalizing the study.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.